Yes?
Yeah.
Hello, okay.
Okay.
Can you
Guys, feel free to unmute, okay, and speak. Like, we don't
Yeah.
need anyone.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my country. Number one, it's famous for for drinking beer obsession. Number two, it is a country that played a major role in World War II, and it's a country. This country has one of the best economy in the world. Can you guess the country?
could it be China?
No.
Germany?
Yes. So this is an example. Would anyone like to participate in this activity?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Your basic information about any specific country without specifying what country it is, and the delegates in the meeting are gonna try to guess what country you mentioned without actually mentioning it.
So it's where there's no petroleum, no benzene. You guys know the country already.
Is it Saudi Arabia?
You only said one information, right? Or did I hear wrong?
He said two information.
I didn't hear what you said.
It's Lebanon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, would anyone like to participate? And if you can't open your mics, it's fine. You can participate through the comment chat. So that
Okay,
anyone
I have one. Okay, so first of all, it's gonna be easy. Like, I can't think much about something right now. It started the second global pandemic. No, it started a global pandemic. It started the H10N3 and created a vaccine for like the pandemic thing.
Yes, Mia, that's so obvious.
Bro, it is like, you know, no one's actually participating, so I was like, why not say something lame? Let's see.
We just wanted to change the mood because we don't want the session to be about just spitting facts and information for you guys. But yes, if nobody wants to share something, I know it's just like on the spot, but if nobody wants to share something else, I guess Samia can continue with the presentation.
So no one wants to participate? No. Okay. And then I'm going to start sharing my screen. Please tell me when you can see my screen, okay?
Yep, we
Can
can
you
hear
see
your
it?
screen.
We
Yes.
can
Yeah,
see.
we can see it.
Yay. Okay. So welcome to today's training session. So we did the gaming activity. Now start with the session. So what is research? Can anyone tell me what do you know about research?
Looking up certain gathering information.
Okay.
Like gathering information on a certain topic.
Yes. Okay. So research.
Builds knowledge.
Yes. Okay. So research is gathering information and data in order to be honest. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so research is gathering data or information and analyzing and interpreting the data and information using methods that are established by specific professional fields and academic disciplines. So, what is the importance of research? Can anyone tell me any benefit for researching?
On a certain topic and to be more informed, so you can share this information with others and teach.
Yeah. Okay, so the importance of research, many goals, but one of the main goals of research is to inform action, collect evidence for theories, and contribute to the development of knowledge in a particular field. So, as someone said, it helps in acquiring new knowledge. It also helps in understanding problems and finding resolutions for these problems. It also increases your credibility, and it also, as well, helps in finding a solution. So, you will find a certain problem, and with proper credible research, you will be able to find resolutions, and it helps in writing your speeches and resolutions. So in MUM, we always do speeches. So these speeches are heavily relied on research. The most important aspect of MUM is to research properly, and your research must be credible. So when you are presenting your speeches, you are going to present them because of your research that you have done. Okay, so this is research and it's important. It's not to talk about the research finder. So in MUM, you're going to be given background, so we're going to elaborate on it later. Okay. So when you want to research, you are advised to have a research finder. This research finder is divided into 3 sections. So this section has 5 main parts. Number 1, the general overview. So the general overview is the basis for the country. So you're going to know the country's geographical position, what are its neighbors. For example, you must know its official name, the capital of this country, and its climate and physical features. For example, it's known for having rivers, mountains, a desert, etc. Okay, point number 2 is that you to know the people, the country's population, the ages in the specific country, and you need to know the ethical and cultural diversity in this specific country, as well as you need to know the religions and languages spoken. Number 3 is the politics of this country. So you need to know the head of state, political parties, the country's president or leader, the type of states in this country, its enemies and allies, the blocs it has joined, and etc. This will help you in understanding the problems that the country has faced and how it has found resolutions for them. So, point number 4 in a country's information is the history. You need to know your country's history, where past events happened to this country that has affected this country in a way or another. Maybe the change in the type of ruling, or to a certain war, it became a full one, or etc. So there are many aspects. But you need to know the most crucial events that have affected this country. And number 5 is the economy. So you need to know your country's economical position. For example, you need to know the GDP, which stands for the gross domestic production. Okay, so this is section number 1. The second section of this research finder is the committee-related information. So you are going to be given a specific committee. So in this committee, you need to know its history. You need to know how it was first established. So you'll be able to better understand this committee and how it finds the resolution and how it acts in general. So you as well you need to know the committee's members and its function and placement. So the function and placement is you need to know where does the committee fit into the UN system. So the UN system has many branches, and you need to know what branch does this committee is in order to know better research and to know uh, other informations, and delegates are encouraged to know to go back to the UN Charter and look for information about their committee. Okay. So the third section of this research pointer is that topic. So the topic in depth. So you're going to be given a specific topic, and this topic you need to know number one the information about the topic. You need to know the history topic for, let's say, generation gap and women's rights. So you need to know in the past the history of this topic, what events have occurred to this topic, how it has been changed. You always need to stay updated until the last second before the final conference. You always need to be updated and know what current events are happening regarding your topic. Number two is the relevance to the country. So you have a topic and you have a country. You need to know your country's stance toward this topic, its point of view, what measurements or actions have your country taken regarding this topic. So you'll be able to better represent your country. Number three is to know the national and international actions. So delegates must be aware of the actions that has been taken by the country on the domestic level or on the national level, such as implementing policies and completing projects, and on the international level, like joining what NGOs or RGOs this country has been joined, or certain fundings, or allies that other countries that have been they formed allies together in order to tackle this specific topic, for example. And the final, most important part is research ideas. So, resolution, sorry. So, delegates are advised to identify every relevant problem they can find while researching and come up with a solution for each of these problems. Okay. Number a note when you want resolution ideas is to always do not provide basic and general. So like, we need to spread awareness about this topic. No, you need to go in depth. You need to say specific, be extremely specific. Okay, how are we going to raise awareness? What are we going to do specifically regarding this topic? And no, and always be creative, yes. And come up with detailed and elaborate resolutions as I have previously mentioned. So,
Samia,
did you understand?
Yeah, Samia, I just wanna just
Yes.
add something, okay? So we're gonna discuss resolutions later
Yes.
on. We're just like going over how to research. Now, here's the thing regarding the research binder. It's not obligated for you to do it. They're not gonna like judge you if you didn't do it. Like it's not graded or like it's not like a very important part of the conference itself, but it's important for you because during any MUN conference, you might have to alter your speeches according to what your opponents or what the other delegates, your fellow delegates said. So you're gonna have to research and research. So the research binder kind of cuts the time you have to research in half, if you will. And again, it helps you to come up with more resolutions, because on the first day you might come up with a certain amount of resolutions, on the second day more and more resolutions. So again, it cuts the that research part into half, seeing that you already prepared it. So yeah, that's really something important to keep in mind. And national and international actions are going to help you in the position paper. Again, we're going to discuss what it is later on. Yeah, you may continue, Samia.
Yeah. And before I continue, did you understand everything regarding the research finder?
Yeah, it was all clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it possible to be assigned a country that doesn't have these things that are not available?
Okay, when you are given a country, you are not given a country just like that. No, research have been provided before. They're giving you a certain country, and they know that the information needed are available, but you need to research extremely well in order to find this information. Okay,
Yes, and don't
so
forget
don't
that.
worry regarding not finding information.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I just have to add one more thing. So yeah, don't forget that every country has like a certain something about its economy. Every country has a certain history. Every country has like certain things this like included in the politics and its people. So just if you're talking about that, so every country has something. So don't worry about the information regarding the section one of the research pointer. And if you're talking about the topic and how it relates to the topic, again, we've done our research to what like topic relates to what country and what countries are best. So don't worry about that.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to continue. So, when you want to research, you need to know where you are going to research. So, number one, never use Wikipedia. Wikipedia isn't a credible source. Always use websites like andrew.org, .edu, and use Google Scholar. It's a credible find any information. And of course, you can also use your country's official website. Okay. So some of the places or sources that you can find information are, for example, if you want to find your country's some information about, you can use official press releases, official for relevant ministers. For example, if your topic is talking about education, then find presses or press releases or anything that the Minister of Education of your country released. Okay, and you can also use the official website of your country. If you want to find information regarding your country's position, you can wait. Yes, you can. Oh, I'm sorry. I mixed the two stuff together. So regarding your country's position, you can use official press releases and websites and your country's official website. If you want to know information regarding your country, you can use UN country profiles, BBC country profiles, CIA World Fact Book, and etc. If you want to committee, you can always refer to the official committee website and the UN Charter. And if you want to find any information regarding your topic, you can use UN News or Word and Data and so many other resources. And all these sources are going to be provided in the it's going to be released in the Google Classroom. Okay, so don't worry. So let's now dive into the background guide. So yes, okay. When you before the final conference and the mock conference, you are going to be given a background guide. This background guide has many different aspects, and you need to understand it extremely well in order to start with your research. So, this background guide has 8 main parts. The first part is the introduction to the committee. So it will just give a brief introduction about your committee, for example, its history, its function, its power, the number of member of states, etc. Number 2, this background guide will offer introduction to the topic. It will give you general information about the topic, what happened, why happened, when did it start, when did a certain event happen, how did it happen, where did it happen, etc. It will help you, and it will also provide significant historical events that affected the topic or the community. So part number 3, yes, is the history. Okay, so we talked about it. Number 4, prominent aspects of the topic. So in this section, you're going to be given significant events and that have affected your country, the topic or the community. This section links between the issues discussed in this section and the topic itself. So number 5 is the international actions that has been international actions, yes. This section outlines the substantive work that the international system and its committees have done in response to the topic. It also includes information about previous actions, treaties, conversations, and so on that has been addressing the issue that you are given. Number 6 is the recommendations. So with this part, you need to further research about it. So they're going to give you some recommendations, some general recommendations for possible actions, but you always need to further elaborate, further research and depth more and more regarding these recommendations. So part number 7 is questions to consider. Yes, okay. So when the background guide, at the end of it, there's questions to consider. So it's a series of questions that are asked, and you need to answer them. You don't answer them in your speeches. It's just you need to answer them to know that did you understand everything. There are questions that you need to answer them properly, and they all relate to the background and the information previously mentioned. So these questions will make sure that you have understood everything regarding your topic before further researching about it and linking it to your country and then So the last part is resources for further research or references. I highly advise for you to use these sources in order to better research for your position paper and your speeches and resolutions. And always use them. And I have a really important note is when you want you entered a certain website, okay, and it's a credible website, but it was talking about many topics, and you just were information. So you can't use this website as a reference. When you want to write references, you always need to go back to the original website, the original place that this information was provided. So if there was a website that listed many information and you are interested in one and be credible, You always need to go down, go to the references, and go to the website that has stated this information. Okay, so I'm going to show you now a background guide, the LAU AMUAN background guide. This background guide was for the mock conference, and the committee was the WHO, or the World Health Organization. So, as I said before, number one is the introduction committee, what is the WHO, and the main objectives of the WHO, and etc. Part number two, these are the procedures, rules of procedure, and we're going to talk about them in further sessions. Okay, number two, which is the introduction to the topic. So they will give you a brief introduction about the topic, as we previously mentioned, and then they will talk to you about the history of the topic, main events that have affected it. For example, we are talking about health. They talked about the plague in 1346. They talked about the act of colonization and the lack of precaution in 1492, and the cholera pandemic in 1817. And they talked about many things that have happened regarding to the history of the health committee. Okay, number four is the prominent aspects of the topic. So yes, as we previously mentioned, and then we have the international. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, is this like a guy has information about the topics?
Yes, this is the background guide of the last LAU and mock conference.
Yeah, and we always always provided with something like that.
I didn't hear properly. I'm sorry.
I was asking why did with a guide like this?
Yes, of course. Before the mock and before the conference, you are going to be given a background guide, which you will need to read properly, and then, of course, you're going to be given your country that you're going to be representing, of course. Okay. So, and then there's the international actions. So they talk about the joint external evaluation, for example, the SC, the African Union, and then this is the recommendation part, which we said that we need to further elaborate on it. And then there's this questions to consider, which are questions like, example, how has the spread of previous diseases such as SARS led to changes in the IHR, and how modifications be made by observing current events. So this is a question you need to know its answer from the information previously mentioned. So you need to know the answer, the questions to consider. And if you answer them all, so that means that you have understand the background quite well, and you may continue with your researching. Okay, then
I
there's
just want to interrupt you, Samia, for a bit. So the questions as well, if you could just go back to the questions. So the questions not only like it just shows how much you understood them, but I recommend like further researching about them. First of all, they can help you with thinking of recommendations or resolutions, and so you can elaborate further on them. And sometimes the questions, they are used as like possible subtopics, so you never know. So I suggest like even if like it's a short answer, you like research about it. Okay, you research the question. It's gonna help you a lot. Okay, and the international actions, you can use it, but of course research everything that was stated in the international actions. You can use it in your speeches and position paper. We're going to discuss it later, but of course with further research, because it's not enough and you need to relate it to your country. because this is just a guide for the topic and committee, and then you need to relate it to your country via research. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then there's the last part, which is the references part. So here is the references for all the information that were given or provided background code. You can, of course, use them to know and to be more specific and know more about the information that you want to use. And of course, you can't use them from here. You need to go to the website and then go to then cite this website. You can't just take information from the background code. You can't do that. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions regarding the background? I take that as a no. Okay, so pay attention. It's a really important note. The background guide is broad. It's just a guide that will help you to, it's like the beginning step for your research. It's not going to help you in your in-depth research, but it will help you to start to form a certain idea. What is this content? What is the topic that you are being given? And to have a beginning idea, a starting idea, and then elaborate and research and go in depth more about it. So the general guide is extremely broad, so you need to narrow things that you are going to discuss, and you need to know how to write subtopics. So in any the speeches, when you want to present a certain speech, you are going to tackle a subtopic, not a topic. If there is a topic given in the background guide, you're not going to talk about it's a broad topic. The background guide is broad, okay? So you need to find subtopics. You need to find topics within that topic. You need to read between the lines in order to exactly know what is this topic discussing and what questions or issues or anything that you can ask in order to further elaborate during the speeches that are going to be given. So, yes. And now some tips. Yes, and now some tips. Okay. Yeah. When in the final conference, okay, so you are given your background guide and you are given your okay. So then you're going to have a period of time where you need to write a position paper, and after the position paper, you're going to be also given a period of time before the final conference. So this position paper, you're going to further elaborate on it in the next sessions. But now we're going to talk about a tip for writing a position paper is use the background. Important and can help you a lot in writing your position paper. Also, you need to consider what your country could have done based on the international action section. This will assist you in deciding what keywords to use when conducting research. Also, the third tip is make sure that the project's resolutions treaties mentioned in the internal action section are being properly implemented. If not, offer reasons why it is not and more effective implementation strategy. Okay. Tip number 4 is people to meet the recommendations suggested. Tip number 5 is next to each paragraph write some keywords that the main idea, so in order to better understand the background guide. And you can also color code the background guide, it's not necessary, but to further understand it more. Yes, a very important tip is read between the lines. Not everything is going to be explicitly mentioned, some are going to be implemented, so you need to read properly the background guide, understand properly the lines and find subtopics suitable. Okay, so you really need to know what are the subtopics that you are going to discuss, because if you understood the topic topics wrong, you understood the background guide in a wrong way, you're going to, it will lead you to writing wrong subtopics. Maybe research is not going to be as it should have been, and you will be the under. Yes. So another tip is to visit the websites used under reference, as they are very reliable sources on this another tip is to research the people that are quoted in the background guide. So from a specific person, take the name of that person and write it in the search engine and see if this person is not, is he credible or not, you know what I mean. And then yes, that's all the information that can be some tips. Yes.
I want to add something.
Okay.
I want to add something.
Yes.
Okay. So in regards to the color coding one that Samia mentioned, so what I actually did, like before the final conference, because they usually give it to us like 2 weeks prior, so we, if not more, so we have time. So I spent like a good 2 days just like looking over the background guide, reading it more than once and color coding it. Not everything was color coded, but how did I color code it? So, and I learned this from like a friend. They don't give this info to you, so you kind of learn it on the like during the whole experience. Anyways, so I used to, for example, potential subtopics, I used to highlight them because I'm going to discuss them with the delegates so we can decide on the subtopics. For example, things that I should research more or I feel like would benefit me, I used to highlight them as well. Things that I could use for the resolutions or that for the to focus on in the national and international actions or anything really, I used to highlight, and so on and so on. Now you guys can like learn these things through like time. Maybe after your mock conference you can learn this stuff. But yes, and really everyone differs with how they kind of organize their work. For example, when researching, you kind of like find the source and then you kind of lose it. I suggest just citing the source, especially when you like copy the thing or the text or the paragraph, anything. Cite the source and put it directly under it so you don't lose anything. Because I actually lost some things or lost some like sites and sources, and yeah, it was pretty messy the first time. So, but everybody differs with the way they like to do things, but these are just some tips to enhance. And one last thing, which is basically a general tip about researching, and Samia is going to discuss enhance your research now, but I just, let Samia discuss it and then I'll say it. So Samia, please, you may continue.
Yes, as Dina said, it's really important that when you find a specific information and that you want to use it, for example, in your position paper, write it and cite it immediately. You will lose it on websites, you don't know what's going to happen. So always cite immediately after you use a certain information. Okay, so now coming to how to enhance your research. Okay, before I start explaining, does anyone have any tips on how to enhance your research?
So basically, Samia,
It's okay.
your okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I heard something wrong. I'm sorry, guys. The internet is pretty bad. I'm sorry if I'm lagging myself. Lebanon, the internet in Lebanon. So yeah.
Okay. So does anyone have any tips to how to enhance your research?
I could guess that we can use multiple
Yes.
and compare our information to the opposite information available at opinions. We can also use deduce from the not use the actual numbers from the statistics, but rather the end result of the analyst. And yeah, that's it. That's how I know.
That's good information. Good. Does anyone have any other tip, or shall I continue?
Yeah, I guess just looking for looking the information of sides, knowing that side wasn't only one, so knowing all possibilities, all sides, and then if you make you make speeches for this kind of stuff by putting bullet points. So if you want to put a bullet point, you have to put for yourself and for the other, other team to kind of cover all bases, so nothing can be kind of said about your points.
Yes. Great. Great. So let's start. How to enhance your research? Always know and reference your sources. As you said, always reference your sources. You take number one, be sure that your source is credible. It's not Wikipedia, and it must be credible. Number two is to always avoid biased sources like politically affiliated websites. So I know this website is with a certain side more than the other side, so don't use it as a source, as it might use sites that are unbiased to a certain side or a certain political party. Number three is keep track of every online source you use and make sure to cite all of them, as we previously have mentioned. Number four, when using research papers, a quick background check on the author is a good way to assess credibility, as we also previously mentioned. And as someone said, which is really important, to when you want to view, when you are researching, okay, you are researching your country, your respective, everything. What are the good and the bad, okay? But then view your country as you are an enemy. So how does, if another delegate wants to attack me, how they are going to attack me, and how am I going to reply to them to show them that number one, that your research is that research, that you are well researched. Number two, I know how to just answer them. So I want to be seen as, oh yes, or you are a weak delegate, or you didn't represent your country as you should have been. So yes, just this is a really important tip.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Okay, so as soon as you're there to debate over any topic regarding on what you have as researchers, make sure not to offend your opponent, because they're gonna have to ask for a right hand of reply to the chair, and it's not gonna end up well. You're not gonna end up getting the award that you actually quick notice. Like, just don't offend the other person or the other country.
Yes.
I have a question also.
Yes.
The opposition, so we should always be like two opposite teams, because what if my opinion is the same as the opposite opinion?
Can you please repeat it? Your voice is low.
Yeah, like on a certain given topic, what if my opinion is the same as the other teams?
Oh, yes, no, you don't know exactly. Number one, when you might know in your committee, in the final conference, all the countries that are going to be with you. So you're going to know, you need to know who are your allies and who are your enemies, who have common perspectives and who have opposite perspectives. Everyone in the final conference is going to have the same perspective. Not everyone is going to be on the same page. There is going to be opposing parties. If there are countries that are with you and with your point of view, then you consider them as allies. And then when you want to form blocks in the final conference, you're going to find resolutions together. But I was saying that when you are researching, you always need to look at your country from both sides, from an ally perspective, or how you see your country, and from an enemy's perspective. So you know your enemy, how everyone is going to attack another, but of course in a diplomatic way. Okay, so uh, yes. So you need to know how they're going to attack you and how you're going to counterattack this attack. You get me?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
I just want to
Okay,
add something.
so
Yeah, I'm sorry, Samia. I just
yes.
want to add something. So, Wissam, since you asked the question, MUN, we're going to discuss this in the next session, which is about the procedures and the flow of debate and how it's all going to go down. But the thing is, MUN, it's not basically a team against a team. It's a delegate and other like delegates, if you want, like a person against a person against a person. It's like all against each other, just trying to win a debate. Then you're separated into groups, but at the same so a group might win, but that doesn't like necessarily mean that if your group wins that you might win this award. So it's kind of like I just want to clarify that it's not like a team against a team. It's not like if your team wins you're gonna win an award, because that's totally not the case. Because in my conference, I'm gonna give you an example. My conference, my team like won the resolutions part, and yet another team, the member of another team, won the Secretary General, which is the highest award, while I won the Diplomacy Award, which is the second highest award, and so on and so on. So it's and opinions don't necessarily differ, maybe on amendments, like for the resolutions. That way they differ, but like the and maybe if you offend a country, but because the topic and the concern is the same, and maybe you have allies, that's why you're separated into teams. You have allies, you have different opinions, but on the topic itself, it kind of really like you're all on the same side, if you will. You know what I mean? Like you differ in values, but you're all on the same side. But the values is the thing that separates you into teams, that separates you into allies and into enemies and whatnot. So yeah, I just want to make just add to what Samia just said. And yeah,
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
judges know them before. Do you know who's gonna judge us in order to make a
uh,
good
okay, so the judge
session?
usually the judges in conferences, they're gonna be your trainers or trainers of other delegates, so you might know them. Maybe they might be your trainer, or they might be like trainers that you don't necessarily know, okay, because they might like train another group. So it really depends. Like there's, I don't know how they separate the judges, but in our case in MUNC, me and the admins, Yasmina and Sanya, will be the judges, and it's totally very objective. So we won't judge you on how much we know you. We will judge you on how you present yourself and how good you do. Okay? So don't worry about that. It's all fair here.
That the judges are coming sent by from another country. They know us stuff that.
Wissam, you're lagging, so I'm not sure if it's just from me. So if it's just from me, I think Samia can answer that. But if you want, you can write it in the chat box so I can just hear your question. You see it so I can properly answer it.
Okay. So,
No, from other countries.
so let's continue. Wanted to understand that truth. If there's a fact, there's a piece of information that has been stated, just take this, but never bend that truth in order to suit your own interest. Never do that because most likely someone else might have also found this exact same a piece of information and is going to attack you for not being credible because you're not being credible if you change or try or bend the truth a little bit in order to suit your interest. Okay, understand familiar terms. Uh, yeah, just understand the words that you are going to use, especially for committee. There are specific set of words that you are going to use, so you just need to understand them properly. Okay, another tip is to explore in depth. Explore. You always need to research. Never just okay. You Google something. Okay, we're just going to this search engine. Never do that. There are hundreds of pages. You need to use as many pages as it. And never forget to always be credible. Always. Okay. Another tip is to be realistic. You need to know your country's position. What did some changes might have happened regarding to the committee or to your country toward a topic. Maybe at the last minute, your country decides to do regarding the specific topic. So you need to know what is this, uh, what happened exactly. Do you get me? And as someone else also mentioned, don't mention numbers. Don't. Why do you need to memorize numbers? You can just estimate or how number just affected what you are discussing. And another tip is to know how to deliver your speech. But this is going to be elaborated further, and you always need to have a good mindset. So, it's stressful. No one's going to deny that. But you always need to know how are you going to deal with this stress. Are you going to give up? Okay, I'm not going to attend the final conference. I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to deal with Amiel anymore. Or are you going to have a struggle and you're going to learn from this experience so you will better improve yourself? And I would like to share a personal story about myself. During Amiel, it was this year was my first Amiel, and I wasn't good. But I did learn so much, so much. Number one, my research skill have improved a lot, and number two, my speaking skill has improved and is going to remain improving because Amian is just an event that's going to happen in your life. So you always need to take every single thing that you can benefit from and learn from. Okay, and now, yes, we have finished all of our
I just have a
tips
comment
for
to make. Yeah, sorry.
yes.
Yeah. So I was so as I was saying previously when we were on the tips part, so the previous part. So I was saying again, cite your sources when you were. It's in relation to the enhance your research part. If you can just go there, Samia. Yes. So yeah. So again, cite your sources once you find like a text you want to include or anything. Just have the source right under it so that you don't lose anything and you keep organized. And most important tip, please, I did the mistake. I did that mistake in the conference, the mock conference, and I learned from it. And I kind of like did it in the final conference, but I was able to manage myself. But please, please Don't research for the sake of just writing speeches. No, no, don't depend that you're gonna find the resolutions later on. That's research for the goal, or like research to find resolutions. Speeches are just basically facts and you kind of modify them. That's basically what a speech is. But resolutions are the base and kind of facilitate you winning in MUN or in MS conferences, because you need to have good speeches, you need to have creative speeches, and you need to have a lot of speeches as well. You need to contribute. So please, when researching, don't research only for your speeches or just a little for your resolutions. Base your research most importantly on the resolutions part and then on the speeches part, because resolutions are a top priority. So please, I just had to say that because
Yes.
I did the mistake more than once. So, but I was able to manage then. But still, remember that.
Yes. Because yes, the main reason why there's Amia is to be able to find resolutions. Your speeches are going to help you, but the most important part of Amia is at the end of the day to find a certain topic. And I got another tip is when you are writing your research binder, don't just tell everything that you find. Okay, let's write everything I find. No, be organized. Know the main articles, the main events, the main whatever that are going to help you to further in your research. For example, during the final conference, for example, there was a topic that was given and you need to present speeches and you haven't written a speech about it. So the research boundary is going to be you're going to have all the information needed, which are going to be organized and organized, so you'll be able to write your speech properly. So just don't read everything, not everything, never. Please, it's going to affect you negatively. If just use the research finder, if you wrote everything in it must be organized, and in short. So that was the end of our today's session. Thank you so much for attending. Does anyone have any question or anything that they would like to say?
No, thank you for your time.
Like,
Okay, thank you guys so much for attending.
so,
And there's no quiz
and
like last time, so don't worry about it. It's just a feedback form. We're gonna send it on the announcement group. And yes, so thank you. And you guys are dismissed. And yes.
okay, thank you so much for attending.
Thank you guys so much.
Welcome.